Hey, everybody. Happy Friday to you. It's a beautiful day here in Virginia. And have you ever thought about pain and the purpose of it? Um, it's kind of curious when you think about why we experience pain, but then when you realize the purpose for it, it becomes wildly mind blowing. Think about this, and you might totally disagree. This might sound um, just completely insane to you, and that's totally cool, no problem. But for those of you who are in pain, um, maybe it's some sort of chronic physical pain, or some sort of heartache, or some even mental, or psychological, or spiritual pain. The thing to keep in mind is, what is this pain trying to do? Why is it here? Now, if we believe in this materialistic, deterministic, clockwork universe, well, then we're kind of trapped because you're just a cog in the wheel of the universe and you really can't do anything. I don't believe that. I don't believe that that's the way that the world works. I don't believe that that's the way that life works. I think that life is always expanding. Life is always growing. We are always growing. I mean, if you look around, you see that in nature, don't you? I mean, even in the winter, the trees, the leaves fall and the trees start to die, but then guess what? They come back again. So it, this idea of this pain is personally important to me because some years ago I was married to a beautiful woman, and actually proposed to her at the top of the Empire State Building, and we had what was I mean, it was just a fairy tale type of romance. I met her, when I first met her, I fell in love with her at first sight. I mean, I just knew. I just knew. I knew she was going to be my wife. And after we got married, which was awesome, and we went to Costa Rica. And, I went to the hospital in Costa Rica because I got food poisoning. And let me tell you, if you ever go to a hospital in a third world country, bro, it is not awesome. There I am at the hospital. I'm at the hospital in Costa Rica. My wife, we're on our honeymoon. My wife is in the waiting room. I'm dehydrated as all get out, right? And so after the 45-minute ride in the ambulance where they didn't have any medical supplies, right? All they had was a tongue depressor. So we go to the airport. I've been throwing up all day, and we go to the airport. We're leaving to go back to America from Costa Rica. And dude, I pass out in the airport. I pass out in the airport from dehydration. Dude, my fingers were all like rigor mortis. Dude, I thought, man, what is going on here? The ambulance takes 45 minutes to get me to the hospital. Literally, at one point, Libby, no, that's my wife, Libby, she told me that they were driving around in her neighborhood going to wave to their friends while I'm in the back. So going to the hospital in a third world country is a different experience. I'll tell you that. So I'm in the hospital and I'm like dying of thirst. I'm like, yo, doc, can I get some water? Bro, the doctor goes out to the waiting room and tells my wife that she has to walk 4 blocks to the convenience store to get some water so that I can have it to drink. So fortunately I made it. We come back from Costa Rica, which was, obviously a great story. And we found out we're going to be having a baby. And then, the day before our first anniversary, we're driving up to Maryland from Virginia. And we were driving up and, man, I don't know if you've ever been married or had a relationship, but the first year is challenging. You're learning how to figure out how to be with each other. And but we just had a great weekend. It was like, hey man, we're kind of getting the feel of this. We're kind of figuring this out, And she's got a big old, she's tiny, but she's got this bowling ball belly. And I was so full of love for her, and like, man, this is awesome. This is what we imagined it would be, right? So I'm driving up, she's riding up with me. And I was actually going up to work because I had a job that did that. So she came up with me because we wanted to be together on our anniversary. So I look over and I'm like, hey, I'm really glad that you're coming up with me today. And she's like, and this is Bean. Hey, buddy. I was like, I'm really glad you're coming up to Laurel with me so we can be together. She's like, she was always, she's always so unassuming. She's like, "You are?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am." So she's like, "You deserve a kiss for that." And she reaches over and she puts her fingers around my neck and kisses me on the cheek. It was awesome, right? And then she says, "I love you," and I say, "I love you." And then about 45 minutes later, I fell asleep, and we were in an accident. And when I woke up in the hospital, they told me that they only brought back one body from the accident. And so tying this all together, sometimes pain is a result of trauma. And though you might not have an experience like that, there's some sort of trauma that you've experienced. And here's what happens. Trauma gets stored in our body as an energy, right? I mean, if you could just imagine, there's no way you could like mentally understand what just happened. I married like the love of my life. We like the whole backstory is incredible. And, we waited until we got married to have sex. I mean, it was like, we were doing everything right according to what we believed. And then it all fell apart. And that happens to you probably. You've had dreams or goals or things that you've wanted, that you've worked hard for, and that didn't work out, or did work out and then they collapsed, or something unexpected happened. The point is that there's this trauma, right? So let me get back to the point. The point is that there's this trauma, and that trauma turns into pain. And so we come back to the question, what is the purpose of pain? Dude, the purpose of pain is to be healed. The only reason that we feel pain is so that we can be healed from it. I mean, think about it. The only reason pain exists is as a signal to eliminate itself. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I mean, pain only exists to be eliminated. So how do you do it? This is where it gets challenging, because the way that you do it is by diving into it. This is one of the things that took me a long time to understand, actually, because after Libby died, and I felt this real chronic pain and this lethargy, and I just couldn't get out of bed, and my back was always hurting. I mean, I'm walking around like I'm like an 80-year-old man, and it hurt so bad. I just wanted to avoid it. Like any kind of movements, I just didn't want to do it. And then I realized, man, pain is meant to be healed. And so I started diving into this pain. I started doing things that hurt. I know that sounds weird, but you know what's even weirder is I started to get control over it. And I started to feel this pain as an energy. I don't want to sound too like weird, but what is pain? You can't like pull it out of the body and put your finger on it. So it's an energy. And so as I dive into this pain, I master it. So for you, if you are dealing with some sort of pain, whether it's a physical pain or an emotional pain or spiritual pain, an intellectual pain, whatever it is that is weighing on you, it wants your attention. And here's what I thought for so long that I want to grant you the key of freedom for. Man, for so long I thought that pain was trying to kill me. I'm a human being just like you. And so the feelings that we all have about our lives at different times, feelings of guilt, feelings of regret, feelings of sadness and all that. Man, I thought it was going to kill me. I thought it was trying to kill me. All the pain, all the physical pain, all the psychological pain. Can I tell you that it's not doing that? The pain is coming to heal you. The reason that you feel pain is to be healed. If you if you can get this, if you can believe this, if you could understand that signal, that pain in your back, or that pain in your heart, if you can imagine it as a friend. You ever have a friend that's kind of annoying, but you like him anyway? You know, like I got some friends like that. They're like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I keep coughing. I have some friends like that where like you like them, but they kind of annoy you, right? Like they've got their quirks and they're just kind of weird, right? Everybody's weird. I'm weird. You're weird too. But you like them anyway. That's the way I think about pain. Is like, all right, you're kind of annoying, but I know, my friends that are annoying, they're annoying, but they mean well, right? Like they're just annoying to me. And so pain is like that. It's coming as a friend, and it's sacrificing itself so that you can feel better. So here's what to do. If you feel some sort of pain, if you've had some sort of trauma, and everybody, man, look, I'm convinced 100% that the biggest glaring problem in the world that nobody is addressing is the fact that human beings are traumatized. I mean, dude, think about this. Every person has gone through this trauma. Every person you know has gone through the trauma I'm about to describe. And it's horrendous. It is a ghastly thing. Okay, you were born. And when you were born, I don't know, what, were you this big? And you came out of a hole that is not that big. And all of the muscles and the contractions, dude, your body was thrashed as a baby. It was thrashed. There's emerging research on the trauma of childbirth for the child, right? It's a traumatic experience. And sometimes those, especially if there's the umbilical cord gets wrapped around, those things can be stored in the body, and you don't even know it, right? Because you come out of the womb like this. So you got to pay attention. You got to be able to pay attention to how you feel. You got to be able to pay attention and recognize that pain is not normal. That's not like the norm. Like you ever gotten a car, like a new car or a car that you really like and it's awesome and you're so stoked, and then you're driving around and all of a sudden the check engine light comes on? Dude, that ain't supposed to happen. I mean, yeah, it's cool that the check engine light comes on, but you're not supposed to drive around with the check engine light on, right? And maybe, you do that for a while, but the purpose of the check engine light is to say, hey, man, we got to check something out so we can turn this light off. It's like that. We're not meant to drive around our cars with the check engine light on. We're not meant to drive around our bodies feeling in pain all the time. And if you can get that one idea that you are not meant to be in pain. Pain is a temporary passage into healing. That is the only purpose of it. It is an man, when we used to fly, I used to love going to the air. Like I traveled quite a bit, and I would love going to the airport to like walk on the moving sidewalks. I thought they were so fun. I felt like such a kid. But that's what pain is. Pain is a moving sidewalk to healing. So whatever pain you are experiencing, can you see it like that? Can you get to that point where you can see that this is not a punishment? Man, I certainly felt that way. This is not because you've done something wrong. This is not because you've got bad karma. It's none of those things. None of those things, man. Those are so damaging to our souls. Gosh, because you're feeling bad physically or mentally or emotionally, and then you feel bad because you feel bad for feeling bad. I mean, it's just this terribly destructive cycle. You got to get rid of it. And you got to see right now, not think about it later, but right now. Dude, pain is a passageway to healing. Man, if you can get that, now you've got a glimmer of hope. Because now that pain, you're not trying to get rid of it. You're trying to make it your friend. You're trying to absorb it. And what happens? This is what happens. This is amazing. The pain kind of like, and I'm just using metaphors here, right? Like this, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. This is what it feels like. It feels like the pain and the tension and the stiffness, it feels like it dissolves, and that energy is then redistributed more equally through your body. So you get this feeling of increased energy, this feeling of increased vitality, this feeling of increased clarity, this feeling of increased passion about life. And if you can imagine all the pain that you feel emotionally, mentally, physically, and all the energy that takes from you, if you can imagine that being turned around, the switch being flipped to being a drag on your productivity and your energy and your enjoyment of life, and you can turn those jet boosters around to be like moving you forward, dude, can't you see how much better your life experience is? Look, hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to put in the comments, and I'd love to answer those and to help in any way I can. After Libby's death and all that, it was several years. It was more than a decade of being in chronic pain, and so what I'm telling you is not is from real experience, and I remember how desperate I felt on many occasions, whether I was ever going to make it, whether I was ever going to get out of this hole. Can I tell you, man, there's life. There's life. And anyway, so hope this is helpful for you, and I hope you have an awesome weekend wherever in the world you are. Thanks for watching.